ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಕೃಪಾ ಸಮುದ್ರಂ ಸುಮುಖಂ ತ್ರಿನೇತ್ರಂ ಜಟಾಧರಂ ಪಾರ್ವತಿ ವಾಮಭಾಗಂ ಸದಾ ಶಿವಂ ರುದ್ರಮನಂತರೂಪಂ ಚಿದಂಬರೇಶಂ ಹೃದಿ ಭಾವಯಾಮಿ. We meditate on the Lord of Chidambaram, who is the ocean of mercy, who is a pleasant neon, who has three eyes and matted locks, who keeps Parvati on his left side, who is ever peaceful and blissful, and who is limitless and always in a Veera posture. We resort to the Nataraja. Before we start today's session of Sankatha, a successfully running male Bharatanatyam dancers conversation series, which has crossed 40 plus episodes. And today we have an energetic, young, dynamic representative of our own state of Karnataka in classical dance, especially Bharatanatyam dance arena, Vidwan Shri Unnath H R, Unnath Jain, as he is known as. Welcome to the show, Unnath.
Thank you, Sagar. Thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to be here as a part of this series.
I think people know Unnath and he doesn't require an introduction, but yet I would take this honor of introducing Unnath's great sadhana in my own way in a very short time, whatever possible. He's the son of Mr. H.P. Ratnaraju and Jayapadma Madam, and the disciple of the great Guru, a legendary Guru of our state of Karnataka, Vidushi Ambali Rajeswari Madam. He's a well-known name in the field of dance in India and abroad. He's a postgraduate holder both in dance and English literature. He's a Vidwan in dance from KSEEB board and also has presented on stage in major cities of India as well as in abroad, including the US, Russia, Belarus, Malaysia, Thailand, Bangladesh, and made a debut in Sri Lanka too, way before in 2016. Unnath has won many prestigious awards and titles such as Ekalabya Sanman in 2009 in Odisha, Natya Kaustuba in 2009 from Andhra Pradesh, Abhinaya Nritya Kaumudi in 2010 from Andhra Pradesh, Nataraj Gopi Krishna Samman in 2010 from Mumbai, Maharashtra, Kalamandir Puraskaram in 2013 at Peravur Temple, Kerala, and Natya Mayuram for the best performance in Bhilai, Chhattisgarh. He stood the best season performer in India in 2012 in Pune. He was also titled Yuva Nritya Kalacharya twice for the year 2018 and 19 by AIDA, All India Dancers Association in Bhilai, Chhattisgarh, in 2 years, that is 2018 and 19. Apart from this, Unnath is an A-grade artist of Doordarshan. He has directed many dance ballets and choreographed various dance repertory in Bharatanatyam, specialized in the Mysore school or Mysore bani and folk styles. He is the principal director of Natya Kala Nivas, which was awarded the Best Cultural Revival Center for 2014, Travel Puraskar from Maldives Arts Council and GCC Karnataka. He is training more than 150 students and serves as managing trustee for Ratnakala Padma Kutira Trust. The credit of choreographing thousands of students for Republic Day and Independence Day performances from past 3 years goes to Unnath. Today, he has crossed training more than 2,000 school students for these kind of choreographies and innovative ventures on historic days of our calendar. Unnath is a member of esteemed group Prayatnam, classical dance exponents based in Chennai. The major dance festivals Unnath has presented in India and abroad, the list is too long, which I would like to read out some of them, where it includes Hampi Utsav, Hoysala Utsav in Halebeedu and Beluru, Natarani Darpana Dance Festival in Ahmedabad, Uttarayan at Delhi, IIT Kharagpur, Kolkata, Nataraj Gopi Krishna Festival in Mumbai, Ekalabya Festival in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, Nitya Nritya, Bangalore, Nitya Nrityati, third edition at Bhilai, Chhattisgarh, ICCI Friday events, Nataraj Utsava by Nrityakala Parishad, Bengaluru, and Abhinaya Nritya Festival, Eluru, Andhra Pradesh, Peravur Vaibhava, Peravur, Kerala, Rasa Sambrama at IIT Kharagpur, West Bengal, and many more to his credit, including the SZCC performances at Elur, Andhra Pradesh, Sai Nrutyotsav, Nupra Nrutyotsav at Chikkamangaluru, ICCR Kolkata, an American consulate Kolkata at Kalamandir in 2018, ICCR program at Sri Guru Nanak Bhavan in Bengaluru, SSY Ashram, Mritya Samaroh for Buddha Purnima Sambhramacharane by Pyramid Valley Society, Bangalore, and Mysore Dasara, and so on. He has been extensively been presented and supported by various different cultural associations in India. In abroad, he's also been part of various different productions and great production companies too. The ensemble with various dance troupes and companies such as Nadam of Bengaluru, Sahaj Padma of West Bengal, Invocation Dance Company Malaysia, Shankara Dance Ensemble Bangalore, Nritya Dance Company Bangalore, Nupura Dance School Bangalore, Prasiddha Foundation New Delhi, and Shanaka Foundation Bangalore. International programs and workshops where Unnath is part of. Also includes the very prestigious Battery Dance Festival 2016 at New York, US. Battery Dance Company's 40th anniversary in 2016 at New York, US. Incredible India Festival at Houston, Texas, the US. Indian Cultural Heritage Foundation, Dallas, Texas, City Performance Hall. Ganga Production at Temple of Fine Arts, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Workshops at Sarah Knight Ballet School, US. Irving School, Dallas Asiatic Society, Army Band Colombo, Dancers Guild, Colombo, Sri Lanka, Chana Dana, Dancers Colombo, Sri Lanka, and many more places to go. He's also been the US Embassy DTC workshops and performances at Dhaka, Bangladesh at Shilpakala Academy, Shilpakala Auditorium in 2018. He has conducted various different master classes at US, Sri Lanka, and many other countries. And his major choreographies or highlights are Dasha Mahavidya, the 10 forms of Shakti, Ashtalakshmi, Soma, the survivor, which is a folk-based choreography and presentation, Dashavataram, Punyakoti, Sri Krishna Tattva Darshana, Bhakti, Gnana, and Vairagya, a philosophical adoration to the Bhakti movement, Smriti Namana, and Pratishthe, Shasana Namana, Swami Vivekananda Charitam, which is a unique presentation again, Sai Charitam, Shringara Rama, Bhakta Markandeya, and so on. He has been very active in the field of teaching, performance, and researching and choreographing continuously in the field of dance. And his sadhana is endless. And we introduce this great consummate artist, and we'll start our conversation with him with this introduction. Welcome to Unnath again. Namaskara.
Thank you, Sagar. Thank you so much.
Such a great, we feel so proud to read your profile and the sadhana which you are going through, and you are promoting your arts which you have learned and propagating it through the new generations which have been, which are approaching you. That's a great thing to, say very proudly, and we all know you is another credit to all of us, I would say. So we just start this show again with this, very small, short story of each of us. As you know, as you're a literate of English literature, that's why I just told you a short story, because that's a very unique journey and a very, a journey which is very close to each and everybody's heart. As how did we get into it? Because after we get into it, after we reach this state, we feel that it's yes, we are there, but getting there was sometimes an accident, sometimes an incident. So please let us know about your background, your artistic background, if somebody in your family were related to arts or artists, and how did you just get in touch with this art form amongst the others, and how did that interest come in you, and which age, and etc.
Basically, it's an unsolved puzzle, yet trying to find the roots and traces of how I became an artist. Firstly, I was 7 when I was inspired by the artistic sculptures and archaeological, temples that we have in our city. And one of my cousin, her name is Deepika, I still remember her. she was the first in our family to take dance classes. And I went with her to watch her, and I sat in the class for a while, and there was something connected you there. I mean, I don't know what connects you, how it connects you, how it bonds you, how it, involves you or drives you or drags you into it. But something very unusual happened, and I rushed back home. I sat with my dad. I tried convincing him, saying, I want to dance. I want to join dance class. Then initially he said no. It's a big no because my dad is a businessman. I come from a giant business family. It's been businesses for 50 years, and my ancestors, my grandfather, great grandfather, all extremely into business. Certainly you cannot expect a male dancer in a business family being called as a dancer as a professionalist. It's very unusual for most of the business families, and they may not want to credit it. Initially, then that happened that I tried convincing my dad. He said like no, a big no. Then I spoke to mom. Mom said, we'll see to it. I'll talk to your dad. We'll see to it. And that was on for a day or two or three. It went on. Then I was very adamant with my decision because I grew up as a very shrewd, adamant, and very straightforward, straight talking individual in my family because my mom and my dad are very shrewd and very straightforward. Then I was adamant, and I went on a hunger strike for 3 days. No water, no food, no nothing. So I literally was crying and weeping. I just wanted to convince my dad, yes, I want to do it. I can do it. Then my dad had this idea. He thought like, okay, I might dance for a week or two or three. Then I'll be insulted in the dance classes. Female will be looking down at you, and they may not want to have you in the class. So he had all this, thoughts in mind. He took me to the class, and then my teacher said one thing: I'll take your admissions on one condition. The thing is, we want you to continue. If you're not disciplined, if you're not regular, then I'll throw you out of the class. That was the one thing she said. Then it was like, okay, I can be. I was always disciplined in the class. I was always regular, on time. So she was happy, and this is how it started. But still, is a puzzle because as I was explaining it to you, one of my great grandfather, mom's uh, um, grandfather, basically had the history of supporting and producing and helping Gubi company, the legendary Gubi Veeranas company. It also helped a lot of producers in the film industry, in Kannada film industry. And that's how maybe, the connection started. And I still remember my mom saying her aunts and a couple of great aunts used to sing. They were into music, a little that in West, not like a very classically trained or a very well trained musicians, but they were happy. They would sing. They were trained for a while, maybe I can say. And some of my cousins in my dad's family were into music, basically into classical music and filmy music. So maybe one of those roots possibly might have supported to carry this. But still, I'm very skeptical. I'm very puzzled. I don't know why I became a dancer. And sometimes it's always said, art chooses you,
Yes.
and so probably that can be one of the reasons. Or maybe I was very adamant and I wanted to be a dancer, and all those negatives around. Maybe I tried converting it into a positive,
Positive.
approach in life. So there can be different reasons for it. So this is
So,
how my journey started at the age of 7.
7, yeah. So I think
Yes,
it's almost you've been grown, you're growing almost with dance, which we can say. I think that was the right time which everybody starts dancing to. So you got into the
right.
school at the right time. So whenever we think of your guru, Srimati Ambali Rajeswari ma'am, one thing which all of us know about, some things which comes about her qualities, her dedication, her discipline, her commitment rather, which she has spread art form in so many areas in Karnataka. I think almost one quarter of Karnataka has her Shishya Parampara. It's so great to know about it because we also came to know, and very recently, like 5-6 years about her. But then whomever I ask from that zone, like Hasan, maybe Chikmagalur, maybe even some places like in Dakshina Kannada,
Sulya,
Uttara Kannada.
Puttur,
Oh God! So
Madikera,
she used to
Mudigere.
travel every week, and her schedules were really crazy. After her, I heard sometime I happened to speak to her after she got the Rajyotsava award, and after listening to her schedules, it was so crazy, and she had been doing it for decades together. Such a dedicated
Right,
teacher. I
very
think
right.
you're so blessed to have her. So, how is your experience of learning with her actually?
Oh, it was very sweet. She's very sweet and she can be really hard. I mean, the
Yeah,
only thing she expects is discipline, commitment, and dedication. Nothing more. So
exactly.
I mean, that's her quality. That's what she, embodied, and that's what she seeded in us. So she said, if you can't do it, you just don't do it. If you want to do it, you have to do it. So there are no. I mean, there is always a trial and error. It always takes time to season. You take time to season. You cannot be an art called as a professional artist unless you're not seasoned. Nobody would want to recognize you or want to watch you for that. So I remember days we would wait in groups. We would wait for her coming. She would finish her classes in Sulia and directly travel all the way to Hassan, and she would immediately start classes. And classes would be just not for 45 or an hour. It would go for like an hour and a half or 2 or sometimes 3 hours of classes twice in a week. And she was very motherly and like a diva for us. We always like the way she spoke to us, like the way she treated us, like the way very deep and very researchy and very scholarly.
So I think it was a very blessed point in your life that you got to a right guru at the right age and you continued it further. Because if it was 1 year or 2 year or a very short journey without interest, I think we wouldn't have been conversing with you today. But yes, so can I ask you something which you took from her, apart from her lessons, like the items which we generally learn from any guru,
Right.
that you have incorporated even today for your teaching?
Discipline, adamant, and detailed study of script, literature, and also the composition. So she has various approach to it. She is simple for simpler people. You can, अच्छा तुम्हें ये समझ में नहीं आएगा, ठीक है, छोड़ दो. ನಿನಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲ್ವಾ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. But you still have to work at some point. So she was very adamant. If she took something like maybe a small Devarnama or Sankirtane, she would connect us, relate us with all connecting stories like the kathas and upakathas.
Correct.
And she would sit and explain the stories. She would explain the characters. She would explain how things can be connected. So this is what I have incorporated in her. The first thing is dedication, the and being very adamant with decisions. These are the major two qualities that I have taken from her as a
Yeah,
gift.
I think it's very important for teachers at some point of time to take those kind of stringent decisions, but that's for the good of
It is
students. I
indeed.
think it's very important.
Indeed, because if you're not disciplined, if you're not on time, you cannot expect your students to be on time. The
Yeah,
only thing is I never make my students wait. The classes starts at 5, then I'm there at 4:45 every day. If I say class starts at 2 p.m., then I'm there at 1:55. So it's always that. Even if somebody calls me for a collaboration and they ask me to be a part of rehearsals, then I'll be the first person to be there at least an hour before, stretch, flex, just rehearse, read the scripts, and be prepared for the rehearsals. So this is something that I really appreciate in myself. I'm really proud of that.
that's great. I think that's the first quality for any teacher. You teach, be a music teacher, dance teacher, or any subject you teach. I think the first thing is lead by example. I think that's what it's
Right,
been instilled in you and you're practicing. That's a great quality which all the teachers need to have, because if class is at 9 and we visit at 9:10, I think after 1 month student starts coming at 9:30 and we start complaining, why are
right.
you half an hour late? But I think we have shown them the way, is what you want to indirectly
I also
mention.
is I never attend calls during my I don't carry my cell phone to my classes.
That's another good
So
thing.
no, I never carry my cell phones unless there is a requirement, unless if I have a meeting or an online sessions, or sometimes we have a discussion, somebody may not make it. So if people have instigated or are freely prepared as that, okay, this is going to happen, then either I carry my tab or my laptop. I don't want that distraction in my classes. I don't even allow my students to carry their phones inside the class.
Yeah,
So I
that
think which
should
is
be
very
there.
important, which is
That's
very
very
important.
important. Yes,
Right,
that's very true. So I get into a very core question, and it might be a very subjective answer from your side as to your viewpoint. You don't have to generalize it,
right.
because we
Yeah,
generally have this notion. Because I'm asking on behalf of all male dancers who have learned Mysore style. Okay, generally there is a tinge of a comment which generally comes: a guy learning a Mysore bani Bharatanatyam might not be as presentable. There might be certain kind of feminine qualities because of these cultural qualities, and certain kind of adavus and the way the
yeah.
abhinaya has been presented, but we never find such kind of things new in many of our dancers who are of this generation, of our generation, I would mean to say, which we have broken it from the, as a
Yes.
message from Karnataka, we have broken that paradigm of saying that Mysore Bani has only Tribangi and there is no straight Saushtava posture or stuff, things like that. But was it also taught to you that way, or did you kind of stylize yourself a little bit so that we become more masculine in your presentation? Do you give that kind of a little bit of concentration towards making it more presentable as a male performer?
I have to answer this in different points. Point one,
Yes.
Mysore Bunny is not feminine, one thing. I mean, any dance form for that sake, it is not that thing. And by the time Mysore teachers started teaching dance, they were too old to train their students. They wouldn't stand with their students and teach. They were in their late 60s when they started basically training other students because they were in the court. And when the court moved off, they have to live their life. They started teaching at the very late ages. So they would sit and teach them and they wouldn't correct. It's only about the bhava, vibhavas, anubhavas, and the rasayana theories. So and they would sit and show the hand movements and that and this. They would show their leg movements a little that and this. So probably people have picked a little that and this, and probably people who practiced it seriously maybe a little effeminate. But as you said, I definitely have made it more presentable because I have worked with various companies in the world, and that's one of the things that supported and enhanced my style. So if people say, for example, I have picked something from Kalakshetra, something from Kalamandalam, something from Kuchipudi, something from Odissi, something from other forms. So whatever I think it is suitable for me as a presenter, as a performer, I just pick those things and convert into, I stylize it according to my choice. And being masculine, I still remember my teacher used to correct me, hey, itara nintkobeda, hey, atara nintkobeda, ಹಿಂಗ್
Correct.
ನಿಂತ್ಕೋಬೇಡ ಇದು ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ and also constantly I would get bullied in my school and a couple of my cousins would bully me saying dance kalita idane henniga. I still remember those terms, they would do that and I just ignored it. And I was an athlete, basically I'm a sports person too. I used to play volleyball. I was a good badminton player. I was a good swimmer. So all these things probably helped me to be what I am today. So the inner strength, the core strength, everything is simple. That's it. So constant corrections by your teacher and couple of your close friends, couple of your friends, some of the close relatives, your own family members, that really helped to condition your body language.
I think that's very important, right? Because you have that kind of a stigma which is there. Because we keep hearing this. That's why I wanted an answer from you, because you have learned completely authenticatedly Mysore style, but in your performance, it's that obviously whatever your guru has taught should be there within us, and unknowingly it will be within us, but it doesn't show that kind of any kind of femininity kind of a thing, as to just tag it to that. So
Well,
I think
in
it's
general, for all the audience, I would also like to add saying you need not be a dancer to be effeminate. I have seen people in the corporate sector, I have seen a couple of musicians, I have seen a couple of actors, I have seen a couple of, normal people who are very effeminate than the dancers are. Some of the dancers are little in a consequential word that they think, okay, dancer ho to aisa rahe, ki, wear lipstick. I've seen a couple of male dancers, and I don't want to mention which part of the word, but I've seen male dancers makeup apply karke, lipstick apply karke, they dress themselves better than women, and they attend shows. I've literally seen that.
to
I mean,
not
through
to
that you
perform,
are
but to see
conveying,
as an audience.
but to see as an audience. I
Okay.
think you might have noticed it in a couple of places. They look more gorgeous than a woman. So you can't really
No,
help it.
that's
I mean,
their personal choice.
that's their personal choice. So the other thing is you need not be a dancer to be effeminate. So anybody can be effeminate.
That's very true. And I think this is a very notable point which you have been put forth, because we all come from, I hope you were also educated in Hassan or in
Yes, I
a
did.
non-metro
I
city.
did.
So this kind of, notions are more in non-metro cities than in metro, because metro cities, they don't have time even to mingle and even spend time, but we will have a
True.
lot of time because our school to our home would be just 1 kilometer or 1.5, and we'll have all at least 2 hours before school and after school, so we socialize bit with our friends, and
Right.
all these whatever you're
Right.
sharing, I think is very important. And I think I should thank you for putting up such right points across. Thank you so much. Because no bani, no style, nobody has told that this is more feminine, this has only padams, this has only javalis. I want to actually ask you, didn't you learn a varnam, didn't you learn an alaripu from your teacher? Because
I learned
whenever it is
everything
put
from her.
forward in any shows, I see that Mysore bani was popular for javalis, Mysore bani is popular for abhinayam, as if the other repertoire is not even brought in forefront. So what is your opinion about it?
See, Mysore Bani is not just Mysore Bani. Mysore Bani is a combination of different banis. Let me tell you, there is Mugur Bani in it. There is Kolara Kitapa style. There is, typical Mysore court style. So it is an amalgamation of various banis within Karnataka, and then it was commonly called as Mysore court. If you look at Muguru Adavus, it's tougher than any Adavu.
Yes, that's true.
And to be a dancer, you have to be different. You can't be like a drill accusant that you just follow something very typical and particular. And these bunnies gave you freedom to explore your body, your mind, your understanding to various things. None of the teachers in those days were adamant or were strict, saying you have to be very strict with your hands, keep your stiff, keep your open. That no, it wasn't that. Look at all the ancient or old teachers. Look at all those ancestral teachers who have practiced dance for years. They were very simple. They kept it very easy. It was very simple. The approach was very simple. The only thing is, all these bunnies and all started, people started classifying it only to, maybe to carry the so-called egoistic
Right.
approach to the art, saying this is mine, this is yours, and this is it.
Yes,
Or this is good, this is bad. What is bad? What is good in art? Imperfection is the beauty of art at the end of the day,
that's true.
right? I mean, that's what I feel. This is my personal opinion.
That's very true. That's exactly what it has to be. The next point, I think we should finish this aspect, which finishes this aspect, is about about your guru. As an example itself, we can take her. She made a motto to spread this art form in a non-metro city, because you also had 101 options. I mean, you have been collaborated from different parts of the world, yet you are rooted in Hassan. I
Yeah.
have heard you speak about this in, I think, some other talk or interview, but still, I would like to raise this point. What made you settle in Hassan? Because people want to, people know that, people think that, okay, this, we might sometimes lack opportunities, and so we stay in non-metro cities, but we have more opportunities in non-metro cities than in metro cities. There are positives and negatives. We might not be paid
Right.
as much as those artists there in the metro cities. We might not be so commercial. So, but you especially in a zone like Hassan, you can reach for more people who are in actual need of these kind of art forms. So, and I
Right,
think I don't have to explain it anymore, because your guru itself is a life example how she has spread the art form for generations in that
right.
full zone of Karnataka. So how do you see this kind of teaching in a non-metro city compared to a metro scenario?
See, I started my career back in Delhi in 2004. I was in Delhi for a while. Then I was back. I worked as a travel designer with one of the Russian companies for a year. I used to collaborate with them. I used to work with them. I also did a little dance in Delhi. Then after that, I felt like traveling agency was not my cup of tea. I mean, I just wanted to dance, and that was just to explore my possibilities and to look into the world, to explore the ideas, explore the life in vivid and various ways. Then I moved back to Hassan. I established my dance school in 2007. So, because living in the metro city, one thing is metros have only three options. Either you be a chela of a guru who is very popular
Established.
to make your way, yes, established, or be a schemer, constantly keep scheming, constantly be in the groove to to get your chances, or to be always playing the die game to be an opportunist, or either you be a self-made man. So living in the metro cities, not only in Delhi, though I started my career in Delhi, then I was in Calcutta with Mirajur Rahman. We started a company there. We worked as a team. We did a couple of productions. We did Rasayanas. We did Uttarayan. We did all those collaborations. We did work. We did productions. Then I lived in Mumbai for a year and a half. I worked with the Bollywood industry for a while. I was the event organizer. I did work with Vidya Kadam for a while. Then that's how I grew my industrial
Days.
what do you call that? There is a particular thing that I always say. Industrial connections was not much popular for dance, but otherwise the media was strong in Mumbai in those days. Then I felt like metro cities weren't my cup of tea, because it's always that they tend to lose your actual self. एंड आई एम अ पर्सन हु इज वेरी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. अगर मुझे कुछ अच्छा नहीं लगा तो मैं बोल देता हूँ सीधा कि मुझे बंदा देख ये मुझे सही नहीं लग रहा है. मुझे ऐसी आदतें बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं है. आई वुड लिटरली से दैट. एंड इफ आई लाइक समथिंग आई से दिस इज रियली गुड, आई रियली लाइक इट. I mean, I would go and compliment. It may be for a dance show or a film or a cartoon or anything. If you like something, you like it. If you don't, you just don't like it. That's it. And with this attitude, I think cities is something that they don't like this attitude. And probably even that was not my cup of tea. Then I had my institution established here. I somehow managed for 3 years traveling to Calcutta, Mumbai, Delhi every week, then come back during the weekends, Saturday, Sunday, spend here time, then again fly back to Mumbai on Mondays, then stay there for a day or two, then again to Calcutta for the production house, then from there to Delhi, to Hyderabad, and then back to Hassan on the weekends just to teach. So this was my routine for almost 3 years, and nobody knows this. Only people who were associated with me know this, that I did all this juggling. And my flights were always booked. कि या आज मुंबई जाना है तो अगर immediately get a call कि production house में कुछ problem है, then immediately fly to Calcutta and then to Delhi and then come back. Hook or crook, I was there in Hassan every weekend. So on Saturday and Sunday, I was available for the classes. So and looking at all those things in city, I decided, yeah, this is not my cup of tea. I don't want to live in a city. Rather, I decided to stay back home. And only two people I always loved, two people who are very selfless to you, are your parents, your mom and dad. They like you for your success. They like you for your failure. They like you for what you are at the end of the day. They love you. They adore you. They cuddle you for what you are at the end of the day. That kind of position, being very family man, being very family oriented, I decided to establish here, set down, and bring in all the quality that I had seen in the metros and implement it here in the small city, and start propagating the way the discipline it needs, the hard work it needs, the commitment, the dedication. So through that, we brought in exclusively strong, unique festivals in Hassan. And Unfortunately, we became the pioneers in introducing different genres of dance in Hassan, not only Indian dance, but also the contemporary forms of
Yes.
different worlds. Yes. So that way, we made a difference. I made a difference to this place. So I'm very proud of it.
That's, I think that's very important to note because if you were in a metro city like Bangalore or Chennai or any other Kolkata, Delhi, wherever you lived in, you wouldn't have got that kind of satisfaction of doing this, because n number of festivals do happen there and people there out there know everything, and they have reached a stage that there is one person performing and two people, one is an organizer and maybe one guest looking at their show. We know that how sabas and things are going on now in Bangalore and other places. So but that is not the case in either in Tumkur or Hassan, or be
Small
it in
cities.
Harvard, or be it in Belgaum, or in some other states, cities which are 2 tier and 3 tier cities. There is certain kind of audience we generally get, and that's, I think, a very good thing which we need to work out and retain them and give what they
True.
need. And yeah.
People in metro cities always have an excuse. They try to find an excuse and escape it. But in
Yeah.
small cities, people are still they have that concern to somebody. Go and invite them. They'll happily come and sit with you. They help you. They support you.
Correct.
It may be financially, morally, or physically. They're always ready. Look at all my parents. I think it's the same with your institution or maybe any institutions in other small towns or cities. I still remember one or two dancers in Bangalore still criticize me. Oh, Bangalore dancer saldu Hasandauru Chichikurnavalla ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು settle ಆಗ್ಬೇಕೇನೋ. They literally had this question from me right on my face. And I took a challenge. I constantly keep myself active in all the metro cities. I go there, I perform there, I collaborate there. I'm happy with that. I don't want to be there as a part of that, but I'm happy to be a part of my own city. And
Exactly.
I'm glad that people always recognize me. I still remember an incident in the US in 2015 by the end. People wanted to recognize me as a Bangalore dancer. I said, no, I'm a dancer from Hassan. That's where I changed my name from Unnath Jain to Unnath Hassan Ratnaraj. I wanted my city to be noticed. So that's how I could mark the name of my city in at least 50 countries today. So where I have not visited 50 countries, but people in 50 countries at least know me as Unnath Hassan Ratnaraju, and this guy is based in Hassan in Karnataka. And people know that there is a city named Hassan in Karnataka. People
Exactly.
only know Belur, Halebeedu, Shravanbelgula, but they never mapped it right. It is in Hassan district.
In Hassan. Yes.
But I'm proud of it. I proudly say it. I still have those records, I have recorded that. I have it with me. I literally changed my name from Unnath Jain to Hassan Ratnaraju. And people, when I changed my name on Facebook, people were little, why did you change your name? And I said, it's my marzi, meri marzi. मैं कुछ भी चाहूँ मैं बदल सकता हूँ. It's my
Exactly.
choice. It's my life.
No,
Yeah,
I think it also brings a certain kind of a unique identity, and also we grow with our own roots, right? So I think that is
right.
very important, and very less people think like you. That's why I think it's a very important point we are dwelling on, because people think that once, if your life has to be settled, you have to go collaborate with certain kind of dance companies in metro cities and be settled there, as you rightly said, some of their options just some few minutes before, and that's the destiny for us to become famous. And once those companies get older, you become the head of the company or whatever it is. So it goes like that, but I think it's not the case. I think there is a lot of scope in other tier cities also, so the people can look at this thing, so that we can have a holistic development of the state and culture of our state made more better, than only concentrating as Mysore or Bangalore or Mangalore. I think it's important for all of us to go
True.
further.
And we have
And
that crudeness in
yeah,
us. We have that
correct.
crudeness. We carry that. And that's the sweetness of a performance. And that
Yeah,
imperfection takes you to I don't know what is the term perfect is all about, but imperfection is what the beauty of any art is.
very true.
And I like it that way.
We all know Unnath for another very good aspect. One is you're very very good looking, handsome. That is secondary. But anybody to maintain that handsomeness and good looking workouts and your physical fitness is very important. As you rightly said,
Right.
you were an athlete, so you had some kind of a orientation towards that before, maybe. But as
Yeah,
dancers, it becomes very important, because till 30, 35, 40, I think it's okay with any certain little ailments we can. But if you have to sustain your performance like great dancers like CVC sir or Dhananjayan sir or somebody like that, I think we need that, fitness. I doesn't mean you have to go to gym or something, but physically fit to maintain all your,
right.
body and mind. So I know you are a very good fitness freak, but still, what would you suggest for, a basic fitness a dancer, maybe a girl or a boy requires? Is it, how important is it?
Well, basically, I started with weight training because I was very much into workouts and stuff. Being a little sportsman, then I really focused on weight training. I used to go hit the gym every day at 4:30 in the morning and spend like an hour and a half or sometimes two with my trainer. Then I realized that too much of weight training is getting your body toned. It's not toning, it's getting more muscular. And for an Indian dance, being very muscular is little, you know, not that great. It doesn't
Not
look great on
appealing.
the
Yeah,
stage. Not very appealing. Yeah, you look more muscular. You cannot move your hands freely. Then you lose those flexibility.
correct.
Then I started practicing Kalaripayattu in 2010 in Kerala. That's when I realized when I was in the CNC Kalari Center. They said it's very important to strengthen your core. The core is something where the umbilical cord is, the nabhi. They said you have to get that right. You have to get that strong. That one point hit me, and I started training in Kalari for several weeks and months. I used to go to Kerala and train since 2010. I used to squeeze and manage time. Hooker could go there, I would practice it. Then in 2015, I made my Kalari practice extensively. I wanted to get this split leg and then get it more higher. My focus was that. Then I hurt my back badly. I had a very major issue with my back. That's when I started gaining weight because I couldn't move for a while. I couldn't do a couple of activities, couldn't dance normally. And I was assigned with the battery dance company to do the performances with them. I still tried managing myself to tone myself and active myself. Then I discussed with one of my close friend who is also a karate trainer and also a body weight trainer. Then I spoke to him. I said, "This is what I'm facing. I'm a dancer. I want to be a performer. I'm facing these issues. Sometimes I can't move. It's frozen. It's rigid." Then he said, "I'll train you with something very interesting." Then he took up martial art and combined it with body weight training. So I think this is very important for a dancer. It is very important to start body weight training, not the weight training, the weightlifting training, but to start with body weight training. So this is what I suggest most of the dancers and non-dancers also, so that it helps to keep you toned, keep your
Mhm.
muscles toned. It's very important. That way, it helps you to know your body strength and weakness.
Correct.
So if you think something is weak, that body weight training helps you to strengthen those parts. So that way you can be in alignment. Your body, mind, and physical alignment will be very neat, and it will be very presentable.
That I think, yeah, it's a good suggestion. I think the people would take, whoever are watching. So we'll go to the next aspect, because we have very short time, and people like you, we would require, I think, 3 hours or 4 hours of discussion just to know some little aspects. But still, I will try my best to bring in the most. The next very important aspect which we notice in you is basically the collaborations which you have been done. I think you've touched a little bit of point at how did it start, but still you've been collaborating with various different dance companies even abroad, and you've performed. So how was your experience, and why would that be a very important phase of your life too, to collaborate and bring up something in a very different way? And I think it has got you a little different exposure to dance and your outlook towards dance itself.
Right.
So but what inspired you to do this, and how did it all happen?
Well, thanks to Orkut, thanks to Facebook, thanks to Instagram. First of all, we keep posting our pictures.
I
We
think
keep
Orkut is
posting our
forgotten
little.
now.
Yeah, but Orkut is something where my journey started. With various collaborations with different companies all over the world. I mean, I don't know. Many of them may not know the term Orkut because
Yeah, now
Orkut
it's
is
little
something
extinct.
that it is completely extinct.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about it. That's how it started, and I constantly used to post pictures from the temples. I would pose in front of it. I would do a little dancing videos and post it on Orkut, and that's how a lot of people got connected from the north, from other countries those days. The Russian companies, the Belarusian companies, people from Europe, people from Malaysia, people from Thailand, from other part of the world. And that's how my collaboration started. People would interact with me and they would find the match. The thought process would be same. They would invite me to be a part of their companies. And that gave me a very good exposure to explore other part of the world, not only as a dancer, but also a traveler
Traveler.
and
Yeah.
also a traveling enthusiast. And that way, I think it opened me to a new way of exploring your body and new ways of exploring your body movements, and using it differently. And people lately tag me for being a contemporary dancer. Sorry, I'm not a contemporary dancer, but I'm a very typical Bharatanatyam dancer with contemporary ideas in me. And probably I'm a contemporary to a lot of dancers of my generation. Otherwise, I'm not a contemporary dancer. People have that doubt. Oh, Unnath, contemporary dancer, right? I said, no, I'm not a contemporary dancer. I'm not trained in contemporary dance, but I'm trained in Bharatanatyam, yoga, and martial arts. I use all these aspects, and collaborating in the West, collaborating in the Southeast Asian countries gave me a freedom of using all these aspects, using the aspects from yoga, the martial arts, then a little contemporary moves, and break free from those rigid moves to simplify it and implement it according to a requirement.
That's a great thing. I think that has also opened up your avenue of how do you look out for your choreographies, which is my next
True,
question. So, because you
true.
have brought in many, contributions through your choreographies, which has been constantly there on board. One or the other production has been there, including, something which is related to patriotic. Some are very, Purana oriented, mythological themes and things like that.
Hmm.
So, amongst all this collaboration, among teaching, among traveling, so how did you get the time to do all these kind of so many works, choreographies for your, productions?
The thing is, I sleep very less. I'm like a very we call it as a tiku sleeper, basically who sleeps very less. I mean,
Yes.
I'm happy sleeping only for 4.5 hours. Constantly, if you see my set of collections of books, so I have more than 1,000 books in my office. Also, I have a small library in my room. Also, a little library in my storehouse where I spend time reading most of the time. So I always have a bedtime book. Also, I have a morning book. Also, I have an afternoon book. So, and also watch a lot of documentaries. I love watching cartoons. I pick up a lot of elements from cartoons. I pick up a lot of elements with what I read from various books. And people may think कि ये सही होगा, नहीं होगा. It may be true or not. But who cares? I mean, what is right, what is wrong? We never know about it. That's
Correct.
how the whenever I find something interesting, I write it down in a book or in a sheet, or I feed it to my tab. So whenever I have to work on something, yeah, if I see a sculpture, I see various aspects of it, I try to put it in dance. I try to bring in literature in dance. I try to bring in music in dance, various movements or various that and this. So that way it takes a couple of days or weeks or months of work. Then finally it is ready and gets ready for presentations.
And I've also heard a very interesting thing about, just before the show, we just discussed about that you have a routine choreography class where you involve your senior disciples and constantly keep choreographing maybe traditional items or like these kind of ballets or any other group choreographies or things like
Right,
that.
right,
So
right,
how would that help on a long run, and how would that involve? And I think it keeps you very creative all the time. That is a taken
right,
point, but otherwise, because we hear very rarely, because when dancers think of choreographing, it's only about that, and that is gonna happen like at a stretch of 3 months or 6 months until the production happens, and then the shows do start, and then you start propagating it, branding it, and etc.
right.
But I have very heard very rarely that you have a choreography, kind of a session choreography. I've not call it a class, but a session on a weekly basis. That's very, very interesting. I think
Yeah.
what gave you this idea actually? That's a very unique
Every
idea.
every senior student is a prime dancer in my institution, including me. I'm not a prime dancer. I just like to sit, watch them. What I do is I pick up a couple of things from various styles, maybe a set of rhythm or a jati or a korve or whatever. I give it to different individuals and I ask them to put in their ideas, then ask them to present it one by one. So then we start picking the best of every movement. Then we all join it, combine it, amalgamate it, and then make it one korve or one simple jati for presentation. That way, their rhythm skills, their ideas of treating a choreography, or approach to the choreography enhances, and that way they'll be open to the ideas and they are not dependent at the end of the day. So they get all the freedom to look into the compositions and they may not wait for me. They can independently work to it. And all my students in my institution have freedom to change the choreography or think on the choreography and say, so let us try this, let us not this is good, this is not good. So I have given them the freedom to do that. So I treat them more as my colleagues and my friends
Yes.
than my students.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a
And it
very
is very
interesting.
important. And that way your students will be very friendly to with the compositions, with the corvees or with the jatis. And they'll start interacting with that. So, and that interaction with their compositions is very important. And that's how these choreography classes or sessions help and support their development.
And that's a very unique feature as a teacher which you have incorporated, and we should, we should credit to you for that, because very rarely
Thank you,
people
Sagar.
do have. I have seen studios where there are gurus where they every day they sit and do choreographies only, and they do one-on-one teaching. But that choreographies are for teaching each student. That's what we have come across till now. Even in the traditional
Mm,
banis, you had one-on-one class. Each student will have a different corvée and a different set of adavus for the same item based on his or her capabilities, but all
mm.
students and teacher together coming together to do a collaborative work of choreography is, I think, very unique, and let it go for a long time, and we would wish to see more and more of your such works
I mean, it's
on
rather
stage.
than knowing these facts from me, I think it's always good to interact with students. Wish I had some of them, uh, but they do it. They post little works and their own choreographies on their pages. So it's
Yeah, yeah,
always it's very
that's now
beautiful to
there.
look at those work.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's very interesting. So, one more very important and critical aspect, which generally people think, is in a non-metro city, you lack, and I think to some extent it's true. Whenever you have an article about, art-related, events or festivals or something like that, it's mostly flooded with the metro festivals, the events which happen in the metro, or sometimes very popular events with cinema stars or somebody, celebrities or ministers or politicians. If they are there, then the program is highlighted. But otherwise, the schools, the teachers, the gurus, and festivals of the other parts, non-metro parts of Karnataka, especially, because I don't know about the other states, we lack that kind of limelight. Do you feel so? Or yes,
it
at
definitely is.
Hassan, yes, at the Hassan local papers, or in Tumkur local papers, or in Dharwad, or in, say, Davangere, yes, we have been highlighted as, like, the people who have been there as torchbearers of the culture, or etc. But when it comes to a state level, always, if there is an interview, or pick four male dancers, then all the four might be picked from Bangalore. I think so. I don't know. It's like the trend. So why
True.
do you think that? Is it my feeling, or do you second it?
100, it's the same thing. In a metro city, even if somebody says ta 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 ta, I mean that will be a big thing for people. Oh wow, and he'll be in all the media coverage because the metro papers go everywhere and they're more popular. It reaches a lot of people. And you
Yeah.
struggle, you do 100% quality work. You exceptionally do great works here with extreme setups. It is either on Facebook, Instagram, or on local newspapers. And
Yes.
and the thing is, I think media today is only focused on metro lifestyles. They don't broadcast, they don't show much about the small towns or cities or cosmopolitan. So their entire focus is on metros because maybe few metros people pay media, Maybe a few metros pay critics to write about them, maybe good or bad. So we don't do it here in the small city. So the cultivation of such media is very important in small towns, though we try. So maybe 1 in 10 or 20 gets in the state paper, maybe once or twice in a year.
That's it.
Otherwise, it's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
on
Very
Facebook.
rare.
It's
Very
all
rare.
on Facebook. We don't have critics, we don't have critics in small towns. We don't have media people who are trained to write about the arts.
Yeah, I think that's also a very valid point because so many people graduate from BA and MA journalism, but most of them chose different fields, and nobody is there to take art critic as their main feature and take it. Though there is lot
The
of
problem
scope
is
to it.
journalism doesn't include arts as a major part. Unless you're keen and interested about it, they wouldn't
Oh,
do it. They only drive you close to the politicians. They would drive you close to the celebrities or some social activists or social workers, and they would want them to interview. Only few, maybe out of 1,000, maybe one comes and interviews you in their
exactly,
curriculum's work. And they say,
exactly.
"Oh, wow, sir. Okay." And where it is published, it's just there in their,
Archives.
case studies, and that's it. End of the story.
Yeah, yeah. So I
And
think
this is
these states papers need to actually broaden now, at least because it's an information age and information can be like taken from any place and given to any place. So I think there is a dearth of that a kind of exposure. Though there, as you rightly said, there's a very good work happening in most of the cities, and most of the dancers are doing a great job. But it's not been publicized to an extent. We are not telling it's not publicized at all. It's been there in the local papers. Yes, we are there, but we only have to scan and put the paper so that it goes to some other district. You might not know what I
maybe
am
we
doing.
also lack maybe we also lack that quality of band bhaja thing, marketing skills.
I think we
So
shouldn't
today
do
is
that,
all
but
about band
still.
bhaja. Because I still remember Dharmendra in one of the shows. I watched it on TV. He said, "हर कोई आता है अपना बैंड बाजा लेके आज मैं भी आया हूँ बैंड बाजा लेके अपने बेटी के लिए अपने बेटों के लिए." So we don't have those band bajas here. तुम अपना खुद बैंड बाजा लेके बजाते रहो ताकि it reaches people.
Yeah,
And
that
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 is
that's
all.
the
That's all. That's the thing on Facebook and Insta. That's what we do. We do our band bajas there.
that's exactly there. So I think that's a very valid point which you have put forth because I think especially talking to you, I felt a lot of similarities between the conditions between the cities. That's why I just brought these points up because
See,
uh,
let me tell you this. See, I brought the US company here two
yeah,
years ago. I brought dancers from Switzerland. I had dancers coming from Germany, and nobody knows in Karnataka because it was never on media. Though people, I personally emailed a lot of state papers, a lot of English newspapers in Karnataka. Nobody responded to it.
that's a very sad.
Nobody replied to it. Nobody published it. So this is what happens. And it's all about, how popular you are. I mean, people want to only put popular faces on newspapers.
And
And
you
maybe
become
we may have
popular
to
once you
wait
come
for that.
again and again. You become popular. If you're not even selected once, how can you even be there in the loop?
Right,
That's a different loop
right,
altogether.
right, right. That's
But
very
I think
true.
that's one very critical aspect which is like haunting all the good dancers of all, not be it male or other normal dancers of male or female or any dance institute which is not doing a very good work. But I think the metro edition, whatever comes on Friday, should be a state metro is what I believe in all the
True. I
uh,
I second you on that. I second you on that.
yeah. But I and
Wish it
even
happens.
yeah, so I think some I think at some certain point we need to take this forward because seriously, because so much of work is happening in other places or too. It's not only in Bangalore or Mysore. Nowadays we don't see news from Mysore also. It's gone very low. It's only about Bangalore, and very rarely we find here and there a little articles about Bangalore, and I think that's it. Bangalore, the biggest cities in Karnataka, but we don't have cultural news from any. It's not only about dance. I'm speaking about the overall arena.
We
Yeah.
need a
So
much open, people to come and explore the other parts of the world. It's not just metros
exactly.
or cosmos, but there are people. There is a valid point. Not only me, but a lot of people have said that I had discussions with a lot of legends. I don't want to name them because I keep my discussions very discreet because I don't want to name the
Personal.
connections that I have with the celebrities. It's very personal. They say, अच्छी चीजें छोटे छोटे शहरों में ही पाया जाता है. It is good things are always found in small cities. And to know that good quality, people have to come and explore it rather than exploiting it.
Very well said. Very thoughtfully said, actually.
It's not my point. It's not my point. But I still remember
Yeah,
a very
lovely.
senior legend, a very senior legend, a very senior musician had said this in Mumbai long ago.
Long ago. Okay, that's a great saying, actually. Actually, very much, very true. Because if you go to Tamil Nadu, small towns near Chidambaram, Tiruvarur, and Tanjavur, and yeah, Tanjavur villages, they have so good dance teachers, traditional Nattuvanars who are doing their job without any, as you rightly said, the word band
Hesitation.
baja. Nothing. They're doing their daily riots, and it's like a duty for them, ritual for them, and happily they teach dance and do
Right,
dance,
right.
rather than we have so many things happening on the other side of it. So both of them are existing, but at least in our state, I think we should try to, strike a little balance between this. So all the good work, wherever it is being done, should be brought into some
Right.
documentation.
And the next generation after us are very smart, very clever. They know what they're doing. They know what they want to do because they have the social media, they have the exposure, they know they connect well to people, they have the talking sense, they approach it very easy. I mean, we lacked those because we were very, clematized in a way. We were said to be that way. But I really
Correct.
appreciate the present and the current generation, which are doing great job. They're very ambitious and they're very particular and they know what they're doing, which is very important. Wish we were that strong in those days.
In publicizing and saying our words
Yes.
so strong.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the time I had asked from your busy schedule is done, but I would like to
No.
still extend it, saying that what's your the main primary goal in near future? What do you want to, what's your next point of achievement or something, like what are you looking
Uh,
at right now,
I
because
don't.
that COVID wala thing is slowly going off, I guess. So we have this completely new, I think, black slate, completely wiped with all. I don't know what is remaining and what's going to come back to us. So how would you look this new life?
It's always every day is a new life and a new exploration. It's kind of that. So I probably would want to start traveling back, which I extensively did throughout the year, visiting at least 3 or 4 countries in a year, visiting at least 20 cities in India, staying back here. I mean, which kept me very alive and active. I want to get back to those more. And other ambition is, I think, I always look for self improvement. It's always an upgrading yourself with different ideas, interactions, because we have this program called Walk and Talk with Scholars, where we invite different scholars and interact on various aspects of life, interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary, in fact.
In
So
your
want to
institute?
we do that? Yes,
Okay.
we have that 4 times or 5 times in a year. So
That's
we
great.
also have visiting scholars. Whoever wants to visit, they are free to come. Somebody people who are coming down to Hassan, they write to me, and I set up a session for them, like a talk session. And it's always interesting that way. I want to, put such type of multidisciplinary activities more in near future, and bring in a lot of scholars to Hassan, give them an introduction about the culture here. Every city has its own culture and ways of life.
Yes.
You cannot criticize or comment just because you have a higher authority or an exposure to another world. The only quality I would also suggest in myself and also in my people is to grow and mature and get seasoned and flow with the time. So that is very important. And this is what I'm looking for in future, just to open more opportunities for people to come and interact and work with us and to collaborate more.
That's a great thing to end the show. I think, yeah, the show is ending with so opportunistic yet optimistic, returns which we are expecting. But still, yeah, we wish that all the wishes which you have come true, and we get that you get that true recognition for the work you do. And we wish all the success in all your endeavors, be it choreography, be it teaching, be it collaborating, or be it dancing, the ultimate thing which keeps us all alive, actually. So thank you so much, Unnath, for accepting the invitation and being part of this Sankatha, where we're sharing the life journey and thoughts of male dancers across the globe. And thank you so much for
It's
being
a
part.
very good initiative, Sagar. You chose male dancers as your prime interest for this interview series. This is very important. This way, a lot of dancers, unknown dancers from all different cities, and you're focusing on cosmos and small towns, which is really good with the metros. So that brings everybody in one platform, and people know that
Yes.
there are people that exist in other cities and towns too. Hats off to
Yes.
you, and hats off to your endeavor and this and this let this series explore more and more dancers all over the world. And thanks for bringing me in. Thanks for this wonderful opportunity, Sagar. It was very good to interact with you, and I'm really gave me a platform to open up myself and say what I feel. And it was very easy because nothing was scripted. So,
Yeah.
which sometimes happens with other shows, talk shows, everything is scripted. And this was more of a conversation, an open conversation. And this is a good way to start, and this is a good way to go. Thank you, Sagar. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
thanks to
Thank
all the
you.
audience for watching us and supporting we dancers. I call it just we dancers because it's not just me, but hundreds and
All.
hundreds of other dancers who are there in the world. Thank you so much, Sagar.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. Good night.